who, when we got to a place where there are two paths, as the poetess has said, we chose the wrong path, and this is where we are. Today I stand with the same faith, same resources, and the same commitment. My running mate has said what happened. There were not more than 57, we are 59, but today we stand among the four proudly. But we say of these four candidates, two of them have been there before. They have had an opportunity to deal with the situation which we are talking about, but they didn't. In fact, they are named in it, the Goliath of corruption. The other one, who is more of a joker than a leader, is in the intelligentsia. You know, one never retires from the intelligence. No, you don't. I am told by Kenyans, and I fall in that class, they don't even quite understand who he is. But let me not dwell much on him because it's not about personalities. You could even be here, and he has been one of the carriers and couriers of the more than 20 trillion Kenyans stashed abroad. I am starting to say that we are different. I am different. And I'll do it differently. I owe nobody allegiance. I owe nobody allegiance. But let me come to the current and just mention a couple of things. A manifesto is a little long. We will not read all of it. Where we are. Right now, Kenya is reeling through such high cost of living. And one of the questions we've been asked by Kenyans and you, members of the Fifth Estate, is what are you going to do about it? For us as Kenyans, we are saying the following, that we will not do it the style of those who've been there before. They have promised Kenyans what they will do, but they have not told them where they will get the money from. For us, we started by telling you where our money is from, where our money is. And we are saying when you vote us in and vote us into that leadership, we'll get that money. We'll get that money for you. If you read why that is the state of affairs, that our money is still out there and stealing has been going on with Abaddon the way it has been, you'll be told it's because of lack of goodwill. My running mate and I bring goodwill. My running mate and I bring resolve. My running mate and I are also not standing here to tell you we will throw this money into that project or this. We are telling you that you and ourselves will decide, we'll work together, decide what to do, and start from known to unknown. And my running mate brought it out that Kenya is not lacking in studies. If we had followed the right way, this nation will be 100% irrigated. We have no business or reason 59 years to have our brothers and sisters in parts of Kenya, and it's not only in northern Kenya. But I know also this happens in parts that are said to be endowed agriculturally, with begging bowls, when we have got such rivers, such mountains, and we are on the equator. We not only want our government to be, we want also to change the form of government and deal with an aspect of governance that is left out and has been left out for the last 59 years. When Abraham Lincoln gave a definition of democracy, he said, it's a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. But we submit to you that this afternoon, when we have seen of the people and for, we have lacked a governance by the people in Kenya, by the people, that aspect of that definition. Our presidency and candidature will make Kenya to be a government by the people. And let me explain. We have already stated that we want to get money that belongs to Kenyans back here, because that money belongs to us. As part of our proposals, and now I'll go to them, I'll go to specifics, bitables, even for the men and women of the media. We are saying in our in our manifesto a couple of things. First of all, to caution Kenyans, when you have voted on the 9th, and a day or two after the results are given, from the first day of our being in office, actually in our opening speech, we shall officially reduce the pay that's paid by Kenyans by 50% to enable Kenyans have some money with themselves, be able to meet their expenses, be able to feed themselves, even at the minimum to have 1 meal per day instead of 2 days, as an immediate measure. The other measure we want to do that from that day is we shall waive tax penalties that will have accrued until the day we are sworn. Listen, it's penalties, not repayment of taxes. We need taxes, and our taxes, you will see what will happen. But penalties up to that day to enable businesses, farmers, starters up, who right now cannot even, people are having to hide when they do their taxable activities. Because KRA needs to meet certain targets to pay a loan, where we know, when we know where the money to pay the 8.2 trillion and some more is. Penalties, we shall waive penalties accrued up to that day. But please note, between now and then, you must still fulfill your obligations. The other thing we shall do thereafter is, we are determined to stop the hemorrhage of what was reported as shillings 2 billion, which we are calling 5 billion. And there's another reason why we are calling it 5 billion. You remember our president said to us that matters corruption, his hands were tied. We still submit from where we are. He didn't get the right figures. Work with our figures, 5 billion. We are determined. And how do we propose to do that? The first thing is that within the first 10 days, we shall give a moratorium to anybody who is holding any money they know they got it corruptly. Public money, they got it corruptly. It's been done before, but we shall do it. We are coming with the resolve. Also, any money illegally stashed abroad, return our money back. Failure to that, immediately and before the end of those 30 days, or round about then, we shall institute what we are calling a Truth and Recovery of Stolen Money Commission, which will expose and name and shame. And I'll tell you why we consider this very important. We must talk matters corruption in this nation, Kenyans. We must discuss why are we so corrupt as a nation. At the risk of repetition, people died because they couldn't get medical equipments, because people store money for the sick. And right now, as I talk to you, there's a report somewhere, or rather there are billionaires under report, and we don't know about them. These days, if you watch in interviews, they chide each other when they meet from the different coalitions. Are you not the one? And they name names. I saw it in one of the local stations. It's a joke, no. Are you not the one who took the KEMSA billions? And the other one, are you not the one who took the National Youth Service? Money that was meant for the sick and for the employed. This will be a serious commission. It will not just be for recovery, but recovery will be key. But because we must have a conversation about matters ufisadi. Ufisadi. Sisi hatukusalio wezi. And Kenyans showed they have goodwill. We can get rid of corruption in 2002. In South Africa, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission helped to have people talk. We need to have a conversation. And we must we must prick our consciences again to get to know that if it is not for the grand theft, the shepherd, instead of shepherding, eating the food of the sheep, then eating the sheep. And not just eating the sheep, anakula mbuzi na kamba yake. Hivyo ndivyo wale viongozi tumekuwa nao wamefanya. We should not have been here. Everybody, I'm sure 99.99, because there will always be a black one, people in Singapore are happy. They have services. They don't have hospital problems. They don't have, their hunger is not 200. And I'm just mentioning those two countries by way of example. Let me move on and say that also, we shall introduce unga and food subsidies that because of corruption were thrown out of the window. They used to be there. And let me move to the next one before I make the point I wanted to make. This is a summary which will be immediately available to the press. We shall engage our bilateral partners and people who call themselves friends. And Kenya is a friend of almost every nation. Actually, we don't have enemies. In countries where our money is saved, and the countries is stashed. There are two categories. There are what are called tax havens, and the others non-tax havens. In total, we are dealing with about 50 countries. And we understand, and this was told to us by a former minister who unfortunately passed on, God bless his soul, the late Joseph Nyaga. He wrote about it. And he said those countries are willing to bring the money back, but there's no goodwill. He even tried to propose, having worked here in Kenya and in banks abroad, in the US, in Chicago. I met him as a young man in an American bank that was at International Lifehouse. He'd just come from the US back to the country to serve his nation. He tried even to sponsor a motion for that. And what he wrote himself was that he was talked down about it. A Badirisha government will bring that money back. Our friends are willing. We owe nobody here or out of here any obligation, anything. We will get money for Kenyans back. The next part of my summary will be what happens when we get that money back. And this is where we find it very exciting. We are even asking you to go with us on a journey of dreaming. Let's even assume from the first day, Luxembourg, or Cayman Islands, or Island of Man. You've heard of those names. Yeah? Or Dubai is the latest, or Thailand, or United States of America, or the Great Britain. United States and Great Britain are not tax havens, no, but there is also stashing there. And because we got democracy from them, I know they are listening to me. White House is listening. 10 Downing Street is listening. Bring our money back. Bring our money back. Foreign countries where our money is stashed, stop economic genocide on Kenya. We have no wars, no military threats with our neighbors. We are good friends with Somalia, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Southern Sudan, Uganda, Tanzania. All we want is our money back. We are not interested in military pacts where we are committing genocide. Kenyans are dying, our foreign partners, bilaterals, countries, because of that money that is in your country. Bring our money back, we develop this country. In addition to that, the other nations like China, bring our money back. Dubai, stop appropriating our money. In some countries, we've told they have come up with laws. If you can't be explained, they appropriate that money in their account. So they are using our money to develop themselves. But assume for a moment it comes back, even if it's not 60 trillion. Let's even deal with 40. My running mate and I are saying, this is the scenario you are looking for. We will in one day pay that foreign debt, 8.2 trillion, and that will even bring the prices, even before we do away with paying. And we are asking Kenyans to get angry and start a campaign of bring our money back. Badilisha. Yes. Bring about it. Stop corruption. Even about the 2 billion, we've never been told whether it stopped or not. But his president, our Excellency the President, was very honest. He said his hands were tied. We are the presidency that will untie, will get those guys who tied his hands. Our beloved president will sort out those guys for you. We'll sort out. And we know it can happen. You can be a leader there and you decide, let's buy so much for the poor, there is COVID, and some people down here. We hear names. Today is about our manifesto. What we are looking at, our government is where thereafter, we are looking at a scenario where we will have money enough to fund every economic and sectoral part of our nation. We are looking at being able to give the youth in Kenya a minimum of 1 trillion for starters when our money is back. We are looking at give the women in Kenya a minimum. Note, it's a minimum, because thereafter, any addition will depend on the needs and the scope of what needs to be done. Another minimum of 1 trillion. Forget ile Elfu Sita na ile bilioni 100 kwa vijana. Hata hawajui, hawana nayo, hawajatuambia itatoka wapi. We are looking at a minimum of 1 trillion to farmers for fertilizer and all that. We are looking at a minimum of 1 trillion towards free education. I'm now into the education sector. We are looking at a minimum